Hi everybody, this is Traci Cornelius and we are on week 29 of the pregnancy. So usually I would say that I'm one of the most positive people, but this week has been particularly tough. Still coming down with a cold, which is not helping, excuse me. So things that have happened this week. An escalation again on tiredness. I kind of feel that I've almost gone back to how I was feeling in the first 12 weeks. So the tiredness has really come back with a vengeance. I'm so ridiculously tired. I think we went back to bed the other morning when Mark was here. And when he came into the room, he was like, oh, it's 1:45. And I was like, yeah, right. Thinking he was kidding. And it wasn't. It was actually 1:45. That's how tired I am at the moment. It seems crazy. Other things that I'm experiencing are sickness. This would be very similar to morning sickness. Sickness during the third trimester or feeling sick actually is very common. A lot of the time it's to do with acid. You can go up. Okay. Plus, I should just wait in there. Yeah, a lot of the time it's to do with acid, because obviously the baby is growing and it's pushing everything up. It pushes up the stomach acid. So you can often feel nauseous and heartburn and all of that type of thing from that. This isn't quite that at the moment. It actually genuinely feels like morning sickness. I've been sick for 3 days in the last week, and I actually have got makeup on, but underneath the makeup you can see all the tiny little blood vessels, because obviously from urging so much it's kind of brought them up all over the face. So that's kind of made me feel a little bit miserable, and let's face it, who likes being sick? Other parts are, again, the pulling of the stomach muscles is crazy, and so is the cramp. Last night I had cramp in my left leg in about 3 different places, and obviously with cramp you tend to try and stretch it out, but every time I was stretching my muscles in one direction it was causing the cramp in another area. So whichever way I was stretching wasn't really helping. Now, I did learn from my last pregnancy that there are a few things that you can do when you get extreme cramp, and that's to go to extreme temperatures. So either get into a hotter bath, make sure it's obviously not too hot because of the baby, or put an ice pack on. That will also then help to alleviate it. That's Alina. Yes. Hang on one second. Kaisha, do you mind just getting Alina down just for a second, please? So those things are going on at the moment. The nausea, the sickness obviously bringing me down. The fact that I'm not sleeping definitely bringing me down. Positives for this week, yay! The movements are a lot more. They're a lot more frequent. They are also a lot more pattern orientated. So I now pretty much know that, like, for example, every single night without fail she is always awake around about midnight, which is just typical because that would be just about the time that I'm drifting off to sleep. So I now know that. I try and work around it. I try not to get frustrated by it, those type of things. I actually felt her leg, like the entire part of her leg the other day, just at the side here, which was quite exciting. I did also mention in my last week's pregnancy vlog for week 28 that I had my midwife appointment. So during that appointment I have actually found out that she has breech, which basically means that her head is up here instead of her bottom, and her bottom and her feet are down below. I did half expect that because I keep getting kicked in the bladder, which is also extremely uncomfortable, and that would only happen if she was upside down, or if it was an arm. And if it was an arm, that means that she would have been transverse anyway. So at the moment she's breech. there's not really a massive concern about that for the moment, because there's still plenty of room to move, so therefore, you know, can be moving around. Hi, you okay? So we'll just have to see what happens with that. So other positives for this week, nesting instinct has obviously settled down. Either that, or I've just got so fed up with my teenager's room, which is just like a complete danger zone. You don't want to go in, you don't want to breathe. So I've swapped the girls' bedrooms around, sorted out Kaisha's room, and started to sort out the nursery, or what would be Alina and the baby's room. I've even put the cot up. Now, from memory, I think it was around about this time that I did the same when I was expecting Grace, when I had Nevaeh, and also when I was expecting Alina, when I'd already had Nevaeh and Grace. And the reason for doing it so early on is because then it's not a big shock when everything in a bedroom changes, especially for the girls, because there's enough change when you've got a newborn baby coming in. So I tend to make sure that I set up the room, so the cot's already all set up. Over time, obviously be washing the clothes and that type of thing, but I'll be getting the girls involved in that. With Nevaeh, she completely understands that there's another baby due, and is excited. Grace pretty much understands that. For Alina, who is only 14 months old, obviously there isn't really that kind of concept. She keeps looking at the cot with a lot of interest. So I think that was a good move. It also means that I have time to start thinking about logistics with regards to furniture, where I'm going to be putting things, organisation, that type of thing. With baby number 5, but technically I'll have 4 and under. Organisation is going to be my best friend and the only way to keep my sanity. So I have been on Pinterest like every day. Pinterest is awesome. It has so many things that really inspire me, and then it has those other moments where I just feel completely inadequate and like, why did I never think of that myself? Anyway, I digress. So tomorrow is my glucose test. I'm really not looking forward to that whatsoever. I mentioned last week that I need to have a glucose test because my BMI is over 30. It's something that is advised for all pregnant women in that part. While I was at the midwife appointment, I also discovered that I'm extremely high risk for something else. And I can't remember the exact term because medical terminology is quite hard. But basically it means blood clots. Because my BMI is over 30, because I'm over the age of 35, and because I've had 3 or more children, that puts me at extremely high risk. And she did actually ask me if I was on medication. Up until this point, never heard of it, never been mentioned by anybody or anything else like that. So I have done a limited amount of research on that. I will find out a little bit more tomorrow, mainly just to find out what it is that I can personally do to help reduce the risks, really. Anything else that I need to mention? Restless leg syndrome. I'm not sure if I've mentioned this. Restless leg syndrome is something that I get in every single pregnancy. It's more humorous than anything else. It can get very annoying as well. Now, restless leg syndrome is basically where your body sporadically just kind of jerks, your legs in particular. Again, it's all perfectly normal within a pregnancy. Nothing to worry about. It can be quite amusing. It's my way of turning around and saying it's like my body having like leg Tourette's, because there's absolutely no control over it whatsoever. Mine seems to spark up every time I try to go to sleep. So yeah, that's just another aspect that tends to keep me awake. Now, I always think the irony of the pregnancy at this time is that you're tired, the baby's getting bigger, it's doing all of those type of things. Oh, and I am going to have a part 2 to this. The reason I'm going to have a part 2 is because I perfectly understand that in pregnancy we predominantly fit into one of two camps. We fit into the one that says, hey, you know what, we want to try and keep everything really positive, and don't tell me all the ins and outs, because it would just make me panic and all the rest of it. And then there are those that turn around and say, no, tell me all now, because then I can prepare myself. So there is a part 2 to this particular week, because there are a few more things that I need to mention. But for those of you that would like to discover things by yourself so that it doesn't cause worry or anything else like that, absolutely fine. You can just watch this one. Happy days. For those of you that really want to find out the complete ins and outs, then watch part 2, which I will add a link to when that's up. So the sleep part is a big issue. The irony of it is that I always feel that at this time of your pregnancy you're really wanting to try and sleep more. However, you sleep a lot less. I'm sure it's in whole preparation for when the baby's born. But the irony of that is just not funny. No. So that would be week 29. So I'm really pleased that she's getting a lot bigger and I'm feeling those movements. I'm, really kind of bonding with her. However, the parts that are really uncomfortable that go with it, not so nice. So the bump. So, you can probably almost tell by the shape, because once again I'm not very high up here. If this was her bottom, you would probably see that my stomach would be coming out a little bit more kind of here. So yes, the bulk of our baby is right the way down here. And where I was feeling her leg was this area here, and it was like kind of sticking out, so that was pretty cute. Well guys, that's week 29. If you want to watch part 2, then I will see you on the other side. See you next week. Take care. Bye.